Ye ranka yensem fata de bia wo de boye ye wadom no homobro nti na yete ase erade na wotwe nyina erade wo so de asempa no ahenta nyansafo no yi a kire nkokoa onkokoa doctors ahodo erade wonam nso a kire ye ewo ya pomuden ho a ebebo ye nyameso na erade ye de ebeto aso yo erade efa etwa tuo ne ye mpa eboni ade srede ne se ma wadom anya kase ewo ye so na ye so ye tie nya aso tie ne yenye asem no adwuma me yenye ne yentie ne yensan koye the same thing na yemfa problems e ma ye ho so ewo ya pomuden ho na ya sa begina wanim asasre ayaresa hu ye mobo dedum kan ye ho na bibibi e betin so yenka mi so nkire afoforo no nso so nya ho emfaso ede wasen so se urade nyansan wo de adom doctors nyina mu o ma mfa anya adwuma mo ne obusuya nko a na mmom o ma anyi hu sika nko a na mmom o ma ba onase abekyerekye afoforo enhyira ne adom bi a wo so de dom no emfa nkame onda hu ye mobo na awia nso so yenkyerɛkyerɛ nso befa no nomu we Yesu din nti amen awia program ye me nua bema osema me mo na bodin ti me frɛ me nua bema ba akopɛ ya na wo mpesa ne man ba doctor ne de opompo ye de bema no nti awia me nua bema obedi manim aye Dr. Boateng ne topic obeyisu ye vitamin D deficiency na obekyerɛkyerɛ ye si ebesi anya vitamins and vitamins ne ye nya fruit ne ye dipa ye di starch no so ye de to aso na ye se ba besua ho ade na ye ho exercise na starch na free mu enti me nua bema Dr. Boateng nka munya aso na muntie no
Enidaho. Temperance. Anopaya na mse pastor eka yo. Eka temperance ne aje so better living. Temperance. Yebeda nyankopon ase. Mejidi ye pa se na otwi mu no nyame ehirayen. Ebi a wonhu no se de mesi hunu no but mame enka kakra nkyerɛw. On say yemudodo na boda memfa nkɔ Ghana kra yemfa mra krom hanom. Yemudodo a yetimi ekohu yem PCP periodically no. Won me be ubedi adanse say okwa appointment ne de obeye but uduru ho na no a obaye na no ye physical exam ne wi a papa wani mra ho so wura ho ne say yeden ufre no obu okra se mensem nyina akra yeden akama maame bi wo say de okan ni nyina manti o asa ni nyina asesi a wasinti wawie mesi ai wawie say so ni nyina ne say enye Dr. Odu Eboa wa say oye PCP nti he will bear me out enye doctor no e plan ne say ohun ya na hia nti oni hu adaje but said ye ni they no ya nipa omo abuki appointment na yeden so ohun omo enti no ya hihye say at least every patient bia no this is the number of minutes yeden so spend so ohun anim no ka say maame we de mene no bedin komo afa no bebusa na o ma no kra ho tesen na se nkura na setena mu tesen ansa na onwie no na nkon spend 1 hour 1 hour no nipa afa na dwuma ye hwe so atua na kana expect say within that 1 hour na bi kra nkwa hwe nipa sen 2 enti no ana 3 so ho enti ho no ne ho ayeden ne ho akere no so ho wan hwe ya na ni pay kra no e ho ya ayeden aba o wasemten na chi e ma na dwuma anyeden e mebo no so ho osa wie ye no osa hwe o wie kra no aka documentation part aye no so da no osa akotena computer no ho de ono ka ye nyina asa ayeden asa document ni nyina enu nti no all the side factors we nyina e bo because one document e o tell insurance for so kra beka so omnyeden omuntua so ho enti wudi we nyina bubomu a na say de be twa akwa akosia ne say wura ho na clock na start enti papa de hia nko a owie ya ko but ohwe said na otwi mu nyame adom ama yenya all these speakers a omo ato omo bo ase I explain enema obi ka chem say cancer dey the way see explaining na dem atiase pa see the nyame ase so the make akwakosia and say some of these things we might take them for granted but they are priceless Ebe din pa se ubenya doctor ama ono wakasa chesa na watimi so agege ada okonyom abusa no question bia wope more so in your own language. Enu ntino ye beda nyame ase se wamaye saa akonya no ama yetimi anya saa disua no. Ene awie kakra bia mepese ka eho asem no eye vitamin D deficiency. Se ye kase ye ka vitamins in general eho asem a se ndenke yenso re wase edoso pa vitamins no edoso ene niema you take yankase etimi buy from over the counter bebre nim say wako any of the grocery stores and I say Walgreens and omoya da wo vitamins ene supplements enko asa na wokọ ho no mo a ena hu na hodo enu ntino yembre ntino mesre pa se ene die for the sake of this presentation yemma nka yen limited to we no nko vitamin D no nko ebi ana wo question bi about vitamin A, vitamin C, vitamin E, you can say so palmito ene de keka ho ni nyina mesre se ene de yen limit no because ye ba be answer ni nyina because obi obusa say sa vitamin we say oya etimi bie wadwen mu pa prevision obi si we so de ye say oya bebre ye ka say ye betena hanom ye so I'm me casa and come here the travel bia ense me detra. We are taking a personal. Anyway, and and I'm a second I used to this disclaimer say just like presentations are yatin and outri munyinano, all these are just supposed to be information and yet medical advice and untino and see whatever relationship and I say any ongoing treatment plan be na ono doctor wono we are ye tie and I say de ma ehu no ensi eno ekwan enko ka say makoti we wa hantino the doctor no kra de menye de mintie ni bio se de minimum na minim mesremo eno say one disclaimer I just want to put it out there we nyina no eye information adesua na yesua eno ensi advice a physician edema because or no, they tend to have more information about how no. As saying, hi, Yejina, ye can't win. I'm sure I'm saying, you know, advance it. Oh, sorry, I'm saying that. Okay. So, Obibebusa said, what is vitamin D? What is vitamin D? Said a medical cano. We all know it as vitamin D. Now, one popular name people refer to it is the sunshine vitamin. I didn't that because of all the vitamins that we have, this is one of the key one. Free area. Yankopon outreach na de kan nyina no ye try say ye betwe ya pomuden no asi Bible no so ene de Yankopon de amayen. The good thing is say we nyina no na ye nim dada ana say edi komhye in a way bi adana di ache de bia meka say if the spirit of prophecy ema ehu years back no if someone like Ellen White happened to be a scientist, and all those information or or document and or propagate said the scientific community wants it. Maybe a Nobel Peace Prizes now, Kebemani be. because that is always based on say the nanipa enim the nanipa enim wona odi kan ma yehu ye chire wiase nyina den age atum say that is a fact ade a enim na age atum then say most of those Nobel laureates, you know, that's how they earn that you can say prize, you know. Then I make us say when you know some of these info SDF we shall say preachy about getting sun exposure, being out there and exercise, and I check you move be me cry but and then you know modern science am I who say I added a scientific touch to it am I who the reason why those ones are the name vitamin, when it comes to vitamin D, you know, it do maybe I make cause a misnomer kakra, because unlike other vitamins, you know, vitamin D actually functions as a hormone. It won't produce more than your typical vitamin. I didn't hear because of processes are immediately within our body. And the influence it basically acts as a precursor to some hormones and other things in our body. There are two main types. Your D2, one more better ego calciferol. Was only D2 no. Normally you free plants, any yeast, so plants and yeast, and D3. Which is the co-calciferol also, and all the free you know ye dimu any fortified foods any multivitamins are fano. But the truth is both the D2 and the D3 they have the same biological effects, and I say what we expect them to do in our body, they are able to do it, though sometimes the steps in activating them within the body, there are minor differences, and then without going into the much details, the differences somehow lies within the ocean structure and the side chains. That's where we see some of the differences. And na a quine ben so any fa enya sa vitamin D. So the medical cano. The natural way Yankupon a boy or share ye fasu enya being exposed to the sun. I don't know be more friend the sunshine vitamin. I don't know some sorry nase if I'm able to get outside kakra na awiano ebo me kakra mostly some studies actually say if you are able to experience between 15 to 20 minutes 3 days a week, that alone what you get should be able to give you what you need for the rest of the year. Ideally, work fine. Normally between 10 a.m. and 4 p.m. No people say den ena ye kan say awia no etimi maminya vitamin D. Yankopon abo yen skin no or the nema bi ahihye mu in such a way say awia no eboso a na awia no come into contact with the skin na activate some form of cholesterol, and I say I don't use the word fat, but cholesterol type of substance be, then it goes through a process now produce you can sense vitamin D. And you know what happened is and I'm said Riano any unipeduano enya sa contact na ena etimi eboa producing intino anything bia na see and I say limited how much interaction the sun has with the body ni biano yet say limited how much our body no so no ebetimi produce vitamin D. And untina younger people any nkrofo omoye fair no they are able to make more vitamin D through the sun, because the reason is so be enyina as you age, your body and answer your skin's integrity to be able to make that conversion, it weakens together with other factors. And two, say obi nye fair say yen tuntum fo Yankopon de ma ye tuntum no substance bi a pigment bi a o skin no a friend melanin eno ena ewo bi esen abrofo no na eno no esi awia no ekwan kakra eno nti no how much the skin, how much the sun's energy, and I said that UV rays now the body is, and I said the skin is able to absorb. No, so. And also the same way, no abrofo say sha bibini betimi anante awiemu from hanum to ebia ne fie kra no. Probability say ebia obenya sunburn, and I say ebia in most extreme cases ebia skin cancer no, it becomes less than abrofo no. Because almost skin no, it lacks that pigmentation, therefore the exposure becomes higher. And you know that is one main source of vitamin D, and I say how you see in your vitamin D, and you know said you know Riano ebo then with skin in the, and you know as the rays get in touch with the Riano. And before I forget, and yet there's one specific rays, UV ray within the rays na sun or produce enumum and it's what the body needs. That's the UVA. The other harmful ones, but specifically the UVA, the body needs to convert that. And you know, in yasana, so the medical can it goes through a process, liver and then once goes through the kidney and then produce some substances. Me boy with all the details and the scientific aspect of it, but say na in general, kwanya a first one a reality no. Say na esi etie. The other source, as we said, we can a diet. The yenye free aduane eden ye die mu any actual vitamins eden ye to enum no. And what happened is so we di aduane vitamin D ewo mu a, when it gets to intestines now, the intestines are able to absorb it, right? Nafi, then it goes through the liver and then it goes through the kidney. And you know, actually we will understand why. So be in your condition be na say sa condition affecting the intestines, and I say affecting the liver can say wahrawa, and I say kidney liver ebrebo medasi affecting kidney, and I say liver sancrophone they tend to have issues with low vitamin D levels in their system. Okay, when the attendant say the reason why being a dark skinned person and then a light skinned person, the exposure and that's our ability to produce vitamin D, tends to be quite different. Now, I say be question because that also generates some kind of controversy in terms of who tends to have vitamin D deficiency, and I say who tends to have those problems, because there is a mismatch somewhere there. A woman say your diet instead of medical many of our foods do not contain vitamin D naturally. And as a matter of fact, most of them they don't contain them naturally. Some do, some do not. Now, Yebeka, some of those ones which tends to contain ebine cold liver oil, mushrooms. Mushrooms are one of the most common ones, especially these days. Ebi mo ahase say emre a ukọ grocery stores a utimi kote ebi mo ahase efa sa emre ni bia emre na nkasa by nature no they tend to contain some of these vitamin D, but to even make it more no technology some companies are using to say omofa emre ni bia, then they artificially expose them to UVA radiation, what I say, to make sure say they are able to absorb that as a way of, creating another means that you're bedding. You bet me vitamin D. But Salamadika can Yame in his own wisdom put some of these things in things like mushrooms. And typically it will be a vegetarian, then that pretty much becomes their major source of vitamin D beside sunlight. Salmon, tuna, and orange juice, and some of our juices now are fortified. No, say grocery stores especially be to say juices, be one mass or be one fortified with vitamin D. Ebi won so be a serious kora na yeto no. Ebi was so fortified with vitamin D. And even enkra nuane kora no by US laws no. Kora nuane bebre no, they are mandated to add or fortify them with vitamin D. Adding because one who says especially in North America no, our natural means of getting vitamin D is almost done. What I say, because let's think about it. Me no me no yes sorry na no pan sorry am akọ dem akọtena me kam na makoduru adwuma me si ya na makọ akọwura adwuma me pon ya na mabewura me kam me free me kam na mabe den mabe hye enti no ubusa on say how long and I said time ben kra na we den we are exposed to awia no so Ghana kra dey be on my be a ye nante enti no yetimi kra ye overexposed to it, but uba krom hana adding and untina omo FDA and other agencies I try say wherever possible yen add vitamin D because especially enkrano it creates and as a cause a condition be a friend of rickets, which is malformation of the bones. It be a sardine, beef, egg yolk, and the keka ehun enyina. Anyway, na we nyina no you better who say how much do we need in a day? There has always been a controversy as to how much is enough and how much is too much and how much is not adequate enough. And back in 2010, the Institute of Medicine study now from that several studies they came up with some of these numbers as to based on your age how much vitamin D you need per day. And to say the reason from infants from 0 to 6 months all the way to people over 70 years. And you share people between 9 and 70 now. It's recommended say at a lower level at least we need about 600 it's measured in units, international units per day. And so far and I say whatever you're taking, being it vitamins, multivitamins, actual supplements, and at least this should serve as a guideline for how much you really need. So the next question is, why is vitamin D so important? I didn't know the day about vitamin D. Why is it important? And one of the key things is it keeps our bones strong. Now, because say vitamins, you will be na vitamin D, but you another important vitamin, and also a whole topic on its own. You can say calcium. And what happened is calcium, we need it to form our bones, to keep our bones strong and all that. But for the body to be able to absorb enough calcium, because calcium is one of the best ways in your calcium, now if your body for the body to be able to do that effectively, it needs the help of vitamin D. So, and vitamin D lower, it also tends, and I say most of the time, you also end up having low calcium because the body is not able to get enough calcium absorbed. And the calcium is what you need for your bones. And that's very, 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 very important because bone, osteoporosis, any any joint problems sometimes it goes back to the integrity of the bone, and I said the bone getting weak. And at least that's one reason why vitamin D is very critical and very important for our health. Studies upon studies, and so I should say having enough vitamin D in our body a boy who buy free. Some of those yarena yabubo subebre throughout the week, it be akumayare, most of our cardiovascular diseases, Vitamin D helps diabetes, infections, immune systems, and even certain cancers. There are some studies that have shown, say, people, and as I'm for vitamin D level, low, that alone is one of the risk factors for BTC, colon cancer, prostate cancer, and breast cancers. Some of the studies tend to kind of contradict. I mean, kind of say, just to be clear, where study the outcome wasn't conclusive enough. One thing about the remove for about vitamin D deficiency and how much the body actually needs, and say what usually tends to be the case, and say studies, some of them tend to conflict, but putting everything together, the conclusion is that it does prevent and as it reduces our risk for contracting some of these diseases. And ibisu muscle strength. And then Dr. Bediakon, and I said since Friday, he's talking about exercising, using our muscles and all that. So be honest, and the vitamin D level is very lower. It manifests in your muscle strength. In the bedroom baby cry, not why a week. When we talk about some of the symptoms, and we can see some of that. And I said it boosts your immune system as a whole. Okay. And now what is considered low vitamin D level? And also there's a little bit of controversy, because for a long time we didn't know, say, how much is too little and how much is too high, because the evidence is still all over the place. But at least what most studies have shown is say you measure vitamin D level, which is usually measured blood work. You measure a friend of 25 hydroxy vitamin D. And no doctor or that lab that is the number they are looking at. Say no eba na say less than 12 is considered low enough to say you are vitamin D deficient. But as I said, there's no consensus as to what actually qualifies as a true deficiency. But at least from practical standpoint, there should be a baseline which normally most clinicians look at anything 12 and below, or check out where who say lower, then they know say you are deficient. We also some of the suggested thresholds are published in the literature, and you can see say if anything, so long as if it's less than 12, then normally it's considered say you are deficient. If it falls between 12, it's more than 12 but it's less than 20, then it's considered inadequate for bone health and a healthy in general. Anything 20 then at least, and yet, but we don't have to worry ourselves or bother ourselves by some of these numbers, because when your number one kasano, you're going to see and then be able to determine, unless say doctor order. What causes vitamin D deficiency? Almost 42% of US adults have vitamin D deficiency. And it's so sad, sometimes it's hard to know. And guidelines so and recommend they say unless you're having symptoms, routine screening is not recommended. And untimi sorry prekope bibia anya no call doctor was Mr. screen check me more vitamin D deficiency. Studies in actually say doing so doesn't have any positive outcome. It is the only time maybe our doctor says or check vitamin D level is when you started showing some symptoms. Maybe a person will rule out to say vitamin D and a call for man. And very important. Say if you start seeing some of these things, I'm not saying say exactly you have vitamin D deficiency, but it could be say that's something that also needs to be ruled out. And I say we need to check. So OSHA, it so happens say Hispanics and black people. I don't know why, but as I said before, most of the Stevens, I say most of the disease, we are seeing we are always part of the high risk group. I could be wrong. I say and the option we ever before there. Before. I say time biano. Inadequate dietary intake. One ma or no milk, only egg, fish is why beer or wake crab. These are some of the sources that vitamin D naturally from our diet. And this will be na say ontimi tolerate we nyina and no betimi am why deficient. People who are lactose intolerant and people who are vegans, almost no they are and a poor absorption. Unse me ka say we intestines no e ho na yeden de obedi no e ho na vitamin D ewom no e absorb free. And until say obi ewo yare bi anase any situation bi a ema yentimi de mantimi absorb ye won intestines na and also no timi mo onya vitamin D anase or vitamin D deficient. Ye won crofo bi wo hono mo a unse obi timi koye surgery, weight loss surgery, right? And I say whatever the situation may be, maybe our intestines no maybe a twa bi aiden every honum. I don't know what ni nyina ho no kra no entimi absorb ni nyina aiden ye twa bi every honum. Ti e ba sa ankrofo no mo vitamin D level no so low. And a lack of sun exposure. Say the ka kan. Ye mudu do na ye hyede mo sa because about 5 years or 6 years ago, me ko hu me primary care doctor. Now, it wasn't because na me yare. It was just one of those routine. As a matter of fact, na me insurance. Kura na eka say. I feel so na say oko your routine na on be ma attend say be $100. And me who 100 that time so na me a student. Me who $100 na say $100 we there say me den. Me jibi. And I jam schedule appointment. And I me call ye. Me call ye no so on be blood work ni bibia. Today, my one of friend, almost friend, me feels I say my vitamin D level very low. And I'm say, sir, and I say, yeah. And to me, I'm share na at that time now I was in Cleveland. Me share me too many for the past almost 2 years now. I can't even think about a day. Crana me spend about 30 minutes outside because those days now me sorry, now me a resident. Me sorry, anopa be 5 o'clock by 6 o'clock. Na me wadwuma me share adwuma mu say me mfi on be about 7 me buy na mbedi no mada ti almost the whole year ni nyina me hu awia no kra me hu bi and at that time so aduane a wodi su kra no you know the obedi e be hye wofu bia na okọ so hu enti no me ankasa me try say na me say there's a reason why I have so much you know I have lost so much and enti no I had to take supplements a prescribed one at that point because mine was very low. And obesity. So be esun bebre a yedi ka obesity ho asem. Eno so no ema nipa no etimi deficient. Chronic kidney disease. Obi a owo kidney issue. Anze me di kan no ye show how a process na a creative vitamin D ye hu kidney ni wo honum. Ti the moment our kidney no aho den be form no. And also etimi causes a gastric bypass surgery. So intestines and also no, if we need to cut some of them out, and I say it needs to be manipulated or removed in any way, and also no element no. And I feel medications. Adrobia was side effects. Some of them do have the side effects of depleting your vitamin D level. Some of the common ones, are steroids. So ebi a condition be na e what to steroids so ebi mu de omonom for a long time until you be a that steroids so for a long time. There are so many things that can happen in your body when you're on long-term steroid therapy, and one of those things could be say vitamin D level very low. And if you see a PCP who tries to look out for you. Some of the things that periodically they might do, and they say, knowing say you're on a long-term steroid therapy, will probably check your vitamin D level based on your other factors. Maybe you are even age, any all that. It will make sense for them to check that. Your wardrobe, a friend rifampin, and obinya vitamin, obinya tibia tuberculosis, sa adrenaline a treaty, and also 1 common one, notorious one, and also a deplete. And all it start, and also for weight loss. So your pills be and crofondum, our multimedia then, they lose weight. Sa pill no, and as I drone no. Onoma, and also it me echo so that. And some seizure medication. So be seizure. Some of the seizure medication, especially one your friend of phenytoin. So be enum sari bia. Ebi emude who be but abrofono. Bebre eda sando ni biso. Our mon no all the time. And you know with time no, what happens is it impairs the ability to maintain therapeutic levels of the vitamin D. And yeah, semetiwanum na se me nyankoye me test no. Near who say my vitamin D level lower. What are some of the signs and symptoms? Who say ebia my vitamin D level low. So the medical can in a normal healthy person, ebia who needs some obvious risk factors. The guidelines don't recommend routine screening. So what you want to call and me call checkup. You check your vitamin D level unless you have some risk factors. But at least until that is done, some of these can clue you or your physician or your clinician into this. It be a mood changes. Unsa fede wo hona na say mood no aye den was say obi say fede o ya bipolar. So na say mood no you are having some mood swings. It could be say ebia o vitamin D level low. I'm not saying say that is what it is. Ntino who say obi mood asaje have mood swings as say akwaya ten say o vitamin D. That's not what we are saying. There are so many things that can cause somebody to have mood swings. But what we are saying is that can also be the differentials. Bone loss. It makes sense if you think about it. Say calcium, which we need to build strong bones, it needs the help of another vitamin. And that vitamin is vitamin D. And so vitamin D lower. They also tend to have low calcium. Or low calcium it affects your bones. And more bone your be a friend of osteomalacia. But bone and bibi kakra bi bone cry it mibu. So one. And if you start having some of these bone or joint, that could be it. And muscle cramps. Obisu honoma. Maybe all of a sudden, what shall I say? You are having all these muscle cramps. Be another clue. Bone and joint pain, especially in the back. I feel the obo say you start having some severe back pains on and off and all that. That could also be a factor. And I feel fatigue. Maybe not or a very active young person. Now, if you say or honomo, I feel or tia juma mukra now a bre. Ohu adwuma waye but otimu say wa bre. Enti no call a doctor who say and checking it out because onim de ntia na nsen kakra bi anu abre young guy. Enti as part of labs omo ye nyina no e ba no hu say vitamin D level e call from very low, less than 12 no call from no. Enti all they did is say they put the person on a very high dose of vitamin D supplement. Within now the person was back to normal. No, Jane say it was something at the case saving item, but not knowing say not the vitamin D level and item. A cough from and I cry and so no records said it yadi kind akan. Then bone formation. These are some of the consequences. Say if your vitamin D level is low, now it keeps being that low for a long time. These are some of the things that can happen. With me, enya ogam no, you can start having problems there. Asthma, obi or asthma, it can even start getting worse. Diabetes, osteoporosis, and it said yedi kan muscle aches. Afi ohunam no, with me say ohunam emu eden ya high blood pressure, akuma yare, and fatigue and depression. Depression just from that. Now, depression one very interesting because there have been some studies which have linked depression to low vitamin D level. Who will even think about that? Say, somebody can get into that. And there was this study. Actually, this was a meta-analysis. Meta-analysis, and what they do, and they say, studies be no more than I combine it. No more combining in na I say ya bought nina tofa. And omofa studies omo combining there were 31,424 people. Na and omo study omo. Actually, after the study nina no, the omo conclude na someone say low vitamin D level is associated with depression. And so vitamin D level na lower to some point and okrano etimi yeden ema unya depression. Ene kwan ben ene befa so treat. So bi enya ebi awakọ wo de ene so severe say doctor who say we are vitamin D deficient kwan ben so ena ye befa so manage no e ba sa ne de a se nya eye lab test no de hu say we are very lower. At that point, no nya fe ne ka cho se ko na koto awia ana se ko na koye ye kan sen kodi nuane ko wimmire ene yi. At that point in there too late. No de obetimi aye na chire. But say na low ne de it needs to be fixed, and therefore the artificial means comes in, which is enro no. So the medical aka no enro no edos pa oko grocery store and also oko any pharmacy here ubehu bebre vitamin, even with vitamin D no ofa bi abon say atwa vitamin D2 ofa bi a friend atwa vitamin D3 yawo ebi wo hono ma eno de oko eho na unhu because eno ye just by prescription. Say you hu say o de eno ye very low pa na these over the counter ones are oko unhu no eno no doesn't solve your problem. Eno no de you need an actual prescription. A drum rebia obi de akra timi ye so low say o de end you have to be put on vitamin D injection. O de end just say ya de pan ye wo ne pan ya ankasa because we need to fix yours as soon as possible, and the doses that you need the unhia no so no e wosoro enu ntino say the injection there ye wo na e ko umojanum straight enti eno enso e wo honum. Ene na obetimi akase obebusa se na obetimi so anya vitamin D no so ama na boro so ana. The answer is yes. You can have too much. Na onya too much nso a eno nso na nya den enye something we call vitamin D toxicity. Obetimi so ye ka se low enye no utimi ubeti ebedum baby so obetimi aden obetimi enya too much. It can be harmful to take. So be enya toxicity from having too much of it. These are some of the problems that they can have. Wakuma no create me shall say the airborne tentem, anorexia, which means weight loss. So we lose weight. And the most serious ones, calcification of your blood vessels. And you can say, or blood vessels, and as a it becomes calcified with calcium. Jafi a yedding. The basa answer you know what can happen. Afi when imra also no na wenya akuma any kidney problems bebre. We will say then na utimi enya ubetimi aden enya too much of it. Ni nyina no aya na ejina de yanka say den ye fa no. Because nyankopon ehu ohu say enya eduro a ye to anom vitamin D supplements a wo to anom nanka de ye nya no naturally from food any awia na you can never have too much. Entimi moroso da. The awiano edemano untimi nyeden enya mane moroso da because nyankopon aye in such a way say we are exposed to more than you need that the body is able to cut how much it produce. Etimi catch the body and as skin na e producing say nipa no aye when you enough entino the eba nyina no menye bio na body na aye ashate making more. But anya sa then one kasa uko na wakoto vitamin D supplements na onom na ogusu fufu na onoma bedroom rebino na abroso ebroso nso a na no so na ayeden akofa asemfoforo ayeden abro enunti ena eho ebehia se ansa na obehya se obenum bi no obetoke to either your physician, your pharmacist, or any clinician no ayeden advise you as to how much you need. Because obi wo okra na the okwa the store anom no, you need more than that. So but one who and ebi also the water awonom no, you don't even need that much. Because ebi one ma okwa esisi wo bebre ya twa we 1,000 units, ya twa 2,000 units. Etemu de hen kra na water anom. So anya ha okwa go gina wo hwa say ebi a we na dose. Enti ma me the aye the am say me hia dodo pa. Enti ma me nyi the dose no bi no I den. Na wafa. The other dangerous thing men kana men fa me kasa no ensi awie ne say the way a krom ha no enura ya num ni nyina all the prescribed medicines ni nyina no they are all very much like be who say the minsinka no ye regulate, they are well regulated. Enti krom ha ansana onko store anasa yentwa do bi ma na onko na onko akota no you can be 100% sure say one adrona original Ghana na enya Ghana nka nim say ndron kra ye fake one honum okwa itincha say maame papa ne ye 10 Ghana we no so no ba ko ne si one dey 1 Ghana no why then they wo botum no why then what choose the ope but chroma no entisa ni nyina they all have to be original ntene u betimi ata no ato but vitamins the way the FDA regulates vitamins no is not as strict as all the other medications. And the people are able to produce vitamins. There are some things in there you don't want. So, and I say anything, wow. And say why are you careful? Now, any supplement be an answer, no water, because there have been some studies. What they did, they say some of these supplements or more, they just went and then picked some of them at random. And in the say vitamin we and a womb. They went to the lab and test to see say the more cano and one kasa na eden a womb sir. They found out say I didn't actually be a vitamin. No. Now there are some others near maybe kura womb a new button home class eden a womb. There are some so-called impurities be eden a womb. All because say they were you see regulatory mono and yet strict. And sometimes people are able to be careless and some stuff end up in it. One a year, remember, met me a culture and say sometimes I talk vitamin B because say some of them no are not pure in its form. There are some independent bodies. What they do is say, okay, yeah, they and say, oh, your company now say, also why a vitamin. Fabre, na independently no, yen na yen examine no, yen fan call up. They make sure say what you claim say is in there no, and no one can send the pepe. So mo claim, so mo yes investigation, and so mo yes test ni no mo who say the woman no, and no one the woman at the boni be anymore. Then they give it like a stamp of approval. So say oh consumer no, if you're buying it, you can be 100% sure say you are buying a genuine stuff. It be one agency a USP, and it be as a auto vitamin B na ya hon USP verified. I think there was a picture here. Yeah, this group, Nature Made. I'm not here recommending any brand or anything, but this is one a year. Normally, or more than they have a seal on it. It says USP verified. So that all that is telling you is say this has been verified by an independent body to show say what they claim to be inside is actually what is inside without any unwanted substances. And I tell people, patients and everybody I come to contact say, especially in this modern world, everything here 2-day shipping, Amazon here, buying medication from Amazon can be very, very, very dangerous. A bit me cheap. A bit me I do in 2 days. But unim ni pakura all turn from Amazon. Unim baby kro konya adoni yeden every year. Unim baby adona yeden akwa akoshe. Into call tana online I phone so say matter adrobi from Amazon. I can be wrong and I say it can be debatable, but let's be careful about enra yetono online. And ena mede mekasa no ebesi. Ese manusi kra edan sawo. And say your question and our contribution be Eda.
Yo, me that's it. Me first one about Ghana and Drone Dieno. Just like Chrome has said, no, it could be firm to say the Oka say, you have to enroll online and you're careful. No. Ghana, the fact say it be cheaper than others, no, does not necessarily make it fake. Debbie, what it is, and they say, to say the old generic and brand names, you know. I think Sunday na Ken the year, right? And no, chair say, a born my generic and brand names, and son of good arrest, this and your man. And to Ghana, the announcement, so they born them now, a baby, also a yefi. Some of the medications we have in Ghana no made in India. So I don't be so I use to have said so I would if you India and Hebrew. But also just like with any other products and also no grade no some na ete. But also to know so say to anything in Ghana, including even share no bottled water. No person who say FDA regulated next sticker a bosso, right? A ball lead and so. To so who says I stick and the boss wa not just say FDA regulated.
I uncle for so your most stick and no there.
No, ultimate scanner cry. Ultimate scanner, yeah. And you know that is how you know say FDA regulated. Okay. The next one question obibusa am person bibusa na oboy and they say there's a recommendation says here use sunscreen, right? Now, okay, so say yeah, before so you know, you convert vitamin D, you know, as fast as a brofono. Now, question then says, you use sunscreen now. So does it affect the conversion rate now? Like a block area nibi? Anyway, question number 1. Question number 2, the time, you know, 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. Or how many vitamin D, you know, meboa. Is it season dependent? Because say the peak time of summer no 12 to 2 o'clock area na entire friendly. And I don't know what to say. But
that's I started from last one. I think say season dependent because season if you walk around yeti kromo e wi an kra won hu bi. So won hu bi. And a drew by business say summer no so na then it becomes very, 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 very high. But bibiano ahweye kakra ewum because ye can ebi wo kra na anopa no e mo 10 o'clock no awiano sa utisi abonten na hwe said ano dinsi etie na okra vitamin D asem no kra be free wadwen o dey say enu nti no na more so ye can we nyina no sometimes one way here overexposure can also lead to skin cancers. Somebody kaka. Yeah, before no cry there. I na a nurse because but brofono there. Very easy say if they are not careful and they get overexposed to the sun now, then ebema or more etimi and skin burns or even skin cancer. And you know, sometimes you can actually feel it. So say upie na say so intense say as you are even burning. I think say it tells you say you are probably exposing yourself to too much. So ebi one more say see someone no o sha say be free anopa 9-10 hawk no na tolerable. So ultimu say ewia na body but onamu a okay ekona but ebia edru because US yakra no ewia no bono enye the same can tell you say so wako Las Vegas at this time and I say wako Arizona no bia say awiane ebi ehrem say twin say sa na kana enu nti no I think say ahweye kakra nso eden ewo honum. Number 2, sunscreen there no debatable kakra because scientifically no sunscreen is one of the things that limited those UV rays. So the debate has been say, okay, how do I protect my skin and still get that exposure? It doesn't eliminate it completely, but it limits how much you have. You know, sometimes how much you get depends on, as much as it depends on the time of the day, it also depends on how long you get exposed to. So maybe as someone with sunscreen on might have to stay in there maybe a little bit longer. So there was a study Binsua I was looking at sunscreen issue yeah. Almost study no what they concluded and they say overall no they couldn't see any difference between patients who used sunscreen versus those who didn't use sunscreen based on their 25 hydroxy vitamin D level, and I say vitamin D content our measure in their blood. And you know, that's how it stands. But I would say for someone who uses sunscreen, the amount, if anything, that they are getting compared to when you use sunscreen is lesser. That.
No.
I'm part of chance.
Me question no is abrofo no mo skin tanning. Omo timi da ayimo awiem mpoano anase beach bi sa no mo awro ho no mo da ho sa na ahye wan no mo wedie no asesa. Na we can be say too much exposure to the sunlight native skin cancer na be etisa. No so no wo munim no mo ya na so mo no de o ma ya ma skin atan ne awie no ya be esi ye kola intimo ya na
but most of the times, I know some of them uses sunscreens and others. Abrofo are very, 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 very sensitive to the sun. So, and so who boni bi a wasa sama ba who na so I got tan yeah, I busano. Most of them no mo dey sra mo hu nyina from head to toe. But I know some of them still run the risk. So, ebi munya sunburns. Bo I got sunburn and all that. What I say, and they even have tanning beds. So I know they artificial you them now then it exposes them to those rays, artificially made those rays, just for them to get that. There's also a risk to that. And as I say, Krano, it be also a therapy say I can say vitamin D, sun exposure. What they do is say abrofono aye machine beer. And also no emitted those UVA rays in it. And then they get exposed to those UV rays. The idea is say those UV rays na or nama say that machine produce and then they get exposed to that UV rays. With the idea say the skin will pick those up and then start converting that into vitamin D. There are risks, there are controversies with that, but people do that. But I mean, we cannot even afford say that's our machine. And untina yen de kakra ye betimi no say awie aboy nyankopon adom. And ono ne de ende wanye sika for de anya hia for de. And de obie ma ye nyina nti wo de kakra betimi aye ene waduane die mu de kakra so betimi adi ye kan emre asem emre so contain vitamin D. So wa konya so betimi adi bia ni nyina nkakra na wo so no wanya de abra wonko da machine biem.
Mesu me dey say on no milk e dey na betimi dey ahye milk anan be say me wo problem me no milk me ni ahoto milk bia me no bia no
they lactose free cry. What's a bit one my train lactose free. And no, ye ayi bia ye friend on lactose free mo. Most people lactose ne woman now one no more. Aya na ma bu on man na yem ne yente bi on my no ye free mo. It's assume say nipa bebre no omo say or no milk bi ni mo a or you okay. Minim say what try no so bia.
Men try me suronti men pisa me no milk na say na ebesi aye me no. Nti say me suro say menom amana ye me. Oh, nti say nka menya bibia hye milk na na.
If I show a question, entino so be so our contribution abetimi e de aboa. Steve.
Yeah, so milk na okano. Your lactose intolerance. And yes, sounds so we been and your lactose is milk protein allergy. But your milk they say almond milk soy milk. All these ones, I'm the vitamin D. Is vitamin D so fortified? In our cano. And I don't know whatever I want cow milk car. To me no. Soy milk, rice milk, options. They don't have anything I want cow milk. I want vitamin D. It sounds to calcium.
And say on the end anything milk.
Anything milk.
Say and so crown out what the milk can I to swa. Or no crowd benya problem.
Well, yeah, I was sitting in almond milk.
I think say
Well,
me me kasano. Me was that problem. Me nom nantwie milk sesi anu a. Ebeyas will be a 1 year fever pa. Me be krom ha me nom bida. Uyam me yam nyina. Na asa masanya fever nso. Efri sa me ba krom ha me nom nantwie milk. But me use be a almond and not soy milk. I know name use. Say ye wa almond so to me edi almond so kwa dia. O ya ebetimi aboa. And I said the doctor Kaya ye wa rice. She said a mono so to me di mon kwa dia. And no and ye na milk. Said the tia no. Omutimi yo. Omutimi yo. Eti those ones so we use soya milk and hawa share other brands se bia wutimi edi almond so na eyeye nko ade a onom na milk bia na atimi abonti try those ones no
but na milk no so me nom a eyeme
we the almond
milk no
well and
no be yeme.
I think say already can say milk no a problem. There are nyamiadum, there are other options. So there are other sources. Say you share hanuma mushrooms ne fish ahodo bebre. And you know enya baby fa kope. And obi kura beka say ya listed tuna ebi a salmon wa hanum. Me ya kwanhweni me da ntino da bi. Say wo nwet salmon ebi am ready awowe. So you try other options. I be no so no ebe ma. Oh, sorry.
Liquid no ye pay.
If that's your question. Or say milk powder no any liquid no the same thing. Menye dietitian there, but kakra met me I can say when a powdered form of it so any no cry will be on my oba a powdered it will be on my liquid it will be on my into tablets the formulation and I said dosage doesn't make a whole lot of difference. Sometimes there can be and there might be a different to make one in this form, but when it comes to the active ingredients na ankasana ayana the same and you know so be no milk no problem men ka say kofa powdered milk nanom chances are you have the same problem but ebia ye ka say ebia ye no milk no ebia me the milk aye nsu aye nom no de me mpe but ebia me nya no powder na me de from aye me okay I would say that is fine. Oh ma sorry.
Me pa cho na am say ka ya answer me question be ka kakra tuna na e wo mu no o se tuna ye namwe anya salmon kra de ha don ne be won say salmon no wo scales na tuna no ye mackerel without scales da be ye mackerel awa ne tuna no ene ye no tuna no ye mackerel ne ho no ni skills na oh why are you confusing me But I would make children. No, son, I had to say, can I and Ghana, you yes, a upper castle could dig quarter wine. Now, yes, dear, what do you do? And to bid up day back to Nahon.
Say, yeah, cannot dear acquire for your way, any dear way there. I think say the verdict is clear. Pacho, it has yes, sir. Men can say, oh, me here vitamin D, you know, and it is a salmon at the end of the bisa because in here vitamin D. Now, make us say, Yame Adam, Adriano, and your back, sources on your back. This is a high you are, I have bedding, I have bed you. And you know, Osha, Nasa. Say Americano. Only be a salmon and I say tuna or whatever now. The other sources emerge way. Emerge so made the media befa emerge and I say made the media befa by before. And until the good thing say there are so many sources and until no yen try different ones. The baby and I say the bit me a take. Sabi no cry no meaning no be an adrobia ejeno. So hypertension ebia a draw or no more. A treat to hypertension as soon as it no more, and you know, and untino as a purple fro no a bed, a bedgeno, not a diamano. Man, Pacho.
Pacho, Miss Who made you any say. That Miss Sorena mean no monsieur, in finding a cup or back one. May June so sad, that would you go cup, no more bear cup on a bear night. And can't down man to me, nano. May June so sad, my dear. And so no. Master
Or say, or and soon, I'm say, or no one cup of crown or Jones of 4. Steve, what experience with that? And yet, in and out.
Well, personally, the Menisa experience, no dear, but a food tour, a bit media man, and they say, there are different conditions. It's sometimes if you are bladder near a week. And say bladder near a week, it could be because was also a weak pelvic floor. In the tree, evidence with me, I used to train, but essentially, exercise if you are ubit me ama or bladder not me stronger. Now, some exercises in your friend of Kegel exercise. And so who doctor which natural in different directions of which my exercise. A bit about say exercise in still na or pelvic floor near a week. And yeah, or more procedures and so on bit me a year. No more to me strengthen or pelvic floor. Sometimes you might say I wore my phone will be a moderate certain age, and one will be a 2, 3, 4, 5 children. A mom was only a week. And so we make it to a beer, not a control my bladder. And maybe that's the reason. That could be one reason. One thing, soon as I think said, Minkai Tuesday, I think said near can't a journey dear Hono. Now, Dr. Frida, my who said, in so no so you good. But Obi a question says, Seminu Suna Johnso Demia, may any dang. Nia a binumi say, Sir Unum so and so ye good. And Senior Mokai at least, so unum bottles are 3 to 4 bottles a day. Say cups are at least 6 to 8 cups a day. But Nia which man says, so funny so could that bear 9 and also could that 10. About bear 5 for a free 5 corner unum subium. Into unso abenumi na no try so benom na no pa eni awia into no enwumere no ba no agya nso no nom ono no betimi aboa ma na joba say Johnson a problem here throughout the day and it could be say from the weak pelvic floor into no uhu doctor na obetimi a kire exercises obetimi aye ono na amboa obetimi a kire kwan obetimi afa so ma wa strengthen o pelvic floor no.
That's pa. And kakra me de be kan say ebi also in addition to the sleep kind. Ebi also na minim de but ebi also sometimes enrobia o taking nso no and also makes it worse. So no bi wo no ma e ma adwun so pa. And if you tend to be obia onum so dada. So and sanru no so ankasa by them ema wo dwun so when the two come together, it make it even worse. Some of those no cry advice say there's a specific timer. As a by that time now no man son wakwakoda. Because we try ye now no a ben time wakwakoda na anajono. We try ye I'll be sorry sir, I'll be the bathroom akoni abasa. If you correct me found a lot of issues. Because we are sorry or da no sorry sir na when we cry no be too ash. How is it? One net nasia obey me. Sometimes it's easy to figure out. Says how do we obey me? I'm what try some of these exercise. Ne mana keka ono. Ebia ebeti me abwa. Ebu on ma. I am simple. Say oh yeah detective kakra. O share nema 1 2 1 2 1 2 be now. We can boom now. Who say ebia sa de we na eden. Course sir. Minim say M1 muda ho. Da.
Me da say. Food sources are the good body is we. I benya vitamin D every way. Me who say mo doctor for mo where you be a friend no IGF-1. And IGF-2. How much they say facilitate the growth of cancer cells. Na me can't find how kakra ne say. Almost says I near my way with a dinny pia. Vitamin D need you benyo. Now so ever my cancer cells no a benini and tentem. Or say during binary fission, you know. Cancer cells in the multiplication equal 160,000 times. And tia basa say pa ebe wura honam baby a na kese no na cancer no we and here enye yi na another so no ye can say minimum doctors minimum say IGF-1 no kwaku say so and ye kan ho asem we mama no woman na monnim no sa no boa ma cancer cells enyini ntem. And the end of the year, nipping so you have some weaknesses, being so.
I think that question one Casacriana, no. Who use the word P? I don't think yes, I don't think so. Be a bad advice to say because of these promote some of the cancer growth factors in intino. So, but it's all about moderation. So. No kwasem ne say no even milk krana ye can bedroom baby some people will tell you say there are issues with milk.
Most so, I say animal products. True milk any
red meat any all that But the truth is they also have some nutrients and I said never be wo mo ebeden. Eboa ni paduano. Edru maybe I can say yakoye kumfu dumfu kakra. So and we just need to strike a balance. So be sorry now on there. You say ebia red meat ema be boa na vitamin D now on there. Dey bia nem kwan say na mono egumu na oya emwa. So and untina yenua na kra no say hwa ebia we kakra say the week no adesua no ekoye no. Sometimes just the variety, not necessarily the quantity, no. Eboa. So, and make us say, and some of these things, I don't want to dispute that, but I don't want to say these are all cancer causing foods, and because always there are studies, and what happens is some of those studies, some of them are questionable, and there are also other studies that do occur a dispute way. And at the end of the day, you just have to choose what you believe or what you think is good for you. And say at least kakrane ebedino enko brosu pi na me de bia me sore a eno ana me gusu sa anopa ene awia but udi kakra wa ha I think say keeping that in moderation I believe say eno ebeboa anya sa na say ye gina ka say oh ebia milk study be say milk cause cancer therefore obia enya cancer no because it promotes some of these IGF-1 and 2 near in intino then it becomes a problem. And kakra metimi aka afa ho.
Now we're talking about vitamins, no. Me and nurses, no. Also now with different kinds, different types, so-called vitamin D session now. Me very specific about ebiaka say vitamin we never found. No one am person demand because Chrome had especially here to Tiani and Hobasel. And to say be our different kind, let's say the same under vitamin D now. Obeti me my patient now. And I said the doctor not prescribe and man on also man specific ones. That's my question.
Pacho, se nipano.
Or do vitamins, no. Now, because you move a or the attention to a by me feeding, or ever so. And now, my question is, say, ABR, who do vitamins, no, let's say ABR, different ones, no. And so, I mean, ABR doctor not prescribe ABR, say, we in a famano. But now I'm so say vitamin D, you know, and yet, and no, about which man different ones now. And I said, the doctor not prescribing, you have to give the specific one, now, doctor not prescribing a man. Like say be a media example, I be a what drew cut home, not vitamins no ego. But any patient maybe I was say man no, I forgot the name no. Maybe this one, the one start with the C no. Maybe the other one now I think ego something or say. And none I was so. No na wo cut no but on only the different one na. And I'm say vitamin D to bet me the other one na amana. That's the question. Because some of the nurses will be like, oh, it's the same vitamin, just. I
think it's a question, and one can answer. Fail back coming.
As nurses, no, we work under doctor's orders. And to know their doctor order and order. Any deviation be an just offer a clarification and I say new order. Simple as that.
And I even cry on over hospitals now. Obu on ma patient be on mobile. Ebia the man of hospital hono. What's me uncle some more media me free fear then me de buy. So no unless under certain circumstances maybe because one la no one then because sometimes the harm is what the crown the free fear but ye nimba be cry our store no. Right. So and we don't even know where it's coming from. So you know ahweyi obi wono so akasa no kra de wode be ma no onum de onu fi se ono ne de a onum no onyemo de ani ni so but you just have to you can say manage it in terms of the risk versus the benefits. Fajo fufuro bi e wo honum bio e bi ani ho bio there.
So
all right, so now Uncle the IGF-1, IGF-2. No? I think the full name here, insulin-like growth factor 1 and 2. And what it does, and it's a hormone as a help a bomb grow, right? Good cells and cancer cells, they all grow. It just happens, so if you have cancer cells, it grows faster than normal cells. So it's not like the IGF-1 causes cancer. It promotes it. Now, a man here more. So when you have cancer, and your IGF-1 need to never cause it, but it's kind of like a man grown tenter. So like that's some kind of adrenal DBR, it has some form of it because it might grow, but we do need too much, and it's not good. And also family history, everything. People are predisposed to having cancer. I don't want to go too much into detail, but when you have cancer, you just need a mutation in that cell. And then your DNA doesn't correct it, and then it keeps growing. That's what usually happens. But normally, this in I don't know, it didn't a moderate size, I think it should be fine. And the IGF-1 is just growth factors that helps you grow. And like you were correct, cancer cells divide faster than normal cells. So if this hormone, the good cells and cancer cells grow in like 2-3 years, and the cancer cell will be a lot bigger than the normal cells. So in a way you were right, but not necessarily the IGF-1 that causes it. Since cancer cells, something else will cause it, and then the IGF-1 will promote it.
Maybe the Koshiano. I say, Dr. Fonsi in moderation. And the Koshiano, Dr. Fonsi, be say, Koshiano, who dear you coconi film. A business macoconi shim. If you see the fitano, if you say, na, Kosiano, a ya na say, say would di a yellow na film, and I say would di white in unqua. And na cheese in also no, say, be a didn't see my eating moderation, because you obey the and my big crack. It won't pay you. Cheesy. Which you could now the shape bread in the cheese in the car, 8 the year. Cheese. Any cheese is also no. A busy cheesy and yet ye need. Then no, and so didn't moderation and so.
But a question. Kosiano, I think say one of the reasons why sometimes nutritionists and I say have a for a case, you can say. That's where you have most of the cholesterol and all those other stuff. And the infant will be already you're struggling to keep your cholesterol under control. Those eating more of these other external sources only makes it worse. But for a healthy person, you don't have issues with cholesterol. I think say if you're able to eat these in moderation, because young women say, "Akwa say no, a drobia no a potentially poisonous. A drobia one a side effect. And untino ya no more druana. Yebenum, but we need that balance somewhere. And yes, idea any bejina so aka say ne say cry de yenumunsu nkwane yenda. Because enuane ni nyina no so obi say nsu no kra na onum no bebre kra na no so no akwa akofa asemwaba. So entino yedru emre bia se ye kase wenye entino of course ye nuane bi wo hono a we know say absolutely they are bad for our health and there's no reason to even take them in moderation. But you will also say it has benefit, it has nutrients that your body knows where they in here. And Tina so be a year ebia because ebia may vegan and I say may what's the other word? May a vegetarian any a year. A good. What a person is trying to say and say may trim home every some of these they are bad effects. But what you need to keep in mind and say once I watch on who are free and nam no near bia na wunya free or nutrients bia o body no ehia so wo na wo say wo wadwen mu na wo hia o body no they need it to function and until say wo yi enam no afiri on ma make sure you find another way to get it what I say and until no sankobasa na say wo kate wo ho kra say emre bi na edrum bi na e cancer say Ghana nkrofo bi ba mo nyina mo so mo ye vegi amoye nso na akoda na aduane gari enko ana mo sere mudi vegi na amoye muni hu akade meboa uni hu akade so what ends up na say you are losing a lot of essential body nutrients so but the way you know hu asi opa say me ye vegi na me what time me de ye vegi no na me fa hu akade say dem say e fa no woni no mo mienu mo vegetarianism na enyepe because on no bi onyanya adaji timi call grocery store there oye nyina dey no dey no vegetables ne ada okay kan bomu no replace enam no nutrients ne ma no ba wo dey we ya okodi gare ne adua ade chi ya gare ne adua enti no wani mra won so no na we lose so many na fe no den ekofa problem abro so enti no the mekan say say fi say bia some of these foods are bad for us na say person ye twe ho free ho a we should have a plan say nutrients yeah me no me trim ho free ho no and I said do you me trim ho free ho no de me nya free mo no how am I getting it back what other ways am I getting it back so yewo enuane bia is only nutrients bia they are only mainly found in animal food and so be say or you vegetarian na or resorted to only you can't say vegetables any a year. Some of them sometimes they end up having to take like supplements to replace those nutrients that they are missing from you can't say more and I say animal products. I'm not saying that is bad, but some way somehow there is a way they are replacing it. And time beyond because a so also be vegetarian is great. So a boapa so many benefits, but making sure say one can now or the time to do it and you're doing it well. And yes, idea the wooden no not or the one more near the home. Steve.
My question is you were nipa bi more line also on Zoom. Now I know a couple of them are more physicians. Would they have a way of sharing if they want to?
I think that yeah.
And every time I'm aware, some will be.
Okay, yeah. Mr. Remo, more line so no. Sorry, say yeah acknowledge mo. And this will be wants to chime in and ask a busa question and ask a commenter. Please feel free to do so. I'm say technical room for now. You say you can just talk, and then we will hear. And you know, if you are listening to us, you can join in the conversation.
No can be say FDA my recommendation say increase vitamins no. Na person bisa say na FDA vitamins no cry D and any other vitamins no nyina no omo approve ana. The FDA omo approve vitamins no omo approve ya adenti no approve ya because say the wa chirichiri mu ame ase ehunu ade ehu hia pa ade no omo approve ya na omo approve so ade no omo masa recommendation no.
They can say or approve. They have nothing against it. But with the statement that I made, and they say the way they regulate some of these vitamins and some of these supplements, you know, it's not as they regulate some of the prescription drugs, right? Say, ebia amlodipine, answer na amlodipine, ebeba na every amakwan amaya market, amakoton the store no. There is an approval process. There were stages they have to go through. Some of them are very rigorous. One thing I'm a neurobo air because uhunisano sadro na ukoya na wakoto before yebeye near makwan sometimes on the average na be 10 years. So we are not just saying a year draw abetonwa. It will take them 10 years before they will allow it. So and to some of those phases, you know, of the approval, and some of these vitamins, you know, don't go through as compared to the other, you know. So it doesn't mean say they are against it. They are not against it. As a matter of fact, if any of these, all of a sudden you say vitamin we are a ton, all of a sudden crofosha says or monominal cause problem they have the right to mandate say you need vitamin in free US market or more and tombio. So but until then they don't regulate them the way they do other prescription drugs. And then I just say they have anything against it, and I say they don't support it. Of course, we all know, say, these vitamins help, and they are good for us. But sometimes, as to how much we are getting and the quality of what we are getting, and the Drew baby are now a problem, kakra.
Maybe some question kakra about Nkosiano. Say, upa Nkosia, clear white no. And now sound who you know, and now sound who be to I say a hro a one chain. Me person me bisa says I a hro no a day. Meaning so be a chroma, especially chroma eggs no. When you crack it now, a basa bagana eggs no, it doesn't really show. Inti media me who am show me free mu, but meaning so maybe it's a good nutrient or not. Inti me person me bisa say yeah now. I say rocky kitty cycle be upaya a free yoke in chain.
Okay. My name say your nutrition be land so or say Ghana there no cause you are no boy a be womb I had no who bisa. I say I had no who bisa but Ghana there no a be no one so meaning so be experience with that a little bloody.
I say slime bisa.
Slimy. Oh, okay.
Me pacho Kosia work and work can also Kosia ni bo hono mo free range and cocoa mangasa ne nam o matoto no ebia na se nia cage base nkokɔ ni bo hono ma e ma akoba e ma nkɔ ho so mutimeto ɛno wɔ hɔ ɛne ɛwɔ nkokɔ ni bɔ free range ɔmo ne mɛɛma ne nam ɛnso so ɔto na nea ɔma nam free range no ɛdeɛ sɛ ɔkokɔ no to a akokɔ kosua hwane no ɛyɛ heat na ɛka no na ɛmɛ hwane ne sɛ kosua no da baabi a ɛhyew kakra bi ka no to a certain temperature na ɛfiri aseɛ sɛ formation ɛɛba nti sɛ wobɔ kosua no a bɔhu sɛ kosua yolk no mfa sɛ yellow no ɛwɔ hɔ na biribi ayɛ tuntum kakra bi saa ne etua ɛnkyɛn na kyerɛ sɛ heat aka na ka ɛda hɔ akɔ so bɛfɔm ɔde sɛn akokɔ ba no nti ɛno na deɛ menim saa ne ɛtumi ba paa sɛ no bi menim kɔ baabi a wɔsɔso sa wotɔ kosua
kurom ha deɛ na meka wo
kurom ha nyinaa saa
krake a ɛsɛ ɛhorɔ ɛyɛ white ayɛ sɛ ɛhorɔ ɛtali yolk ne nkyɛn sɛ
ahorɔ
ayɛ te sɛ ahorɔ ɛyɛ kitikiti circle bi sɛ wogu krake nkosua no
oh kosua biaa wonya bɔnko a deɛ yellow no efiri hɔ nom a na ɛbɛman no nso so aba na between that na baby ayɛ te sɛ ahorɔ fitaa bi saa ɛyɛ part of fufuo no fufuo no ebi no nti no na fufuo no so ono a na wohwane ho a mo sɛ eyi layer so betumi awae layer by layer the first layer no ɛno no ne main ɛno fufuo no na fufuo na wokɔ yolk no ho no ɛno ne the light one no tisania etieno
I think that the question no page say Ghana the end obo a unhu anu bi wo
Ghana ono hwe
I say obisi Ghana
Ghana kokon most o muta ye free range so mu di greens dodo ewura no ne ade no eno nti kosua se no akokwa wota di ewura bebrebe no kosua no yellow ni ye yellow pa ena ne wonta ni ewura no na ni na aye hoya ma hwe no so a enti nye ha bia
okay that's it se fufuro bia ni honom de a ene ye de adesua no ebesi.
Oh, I have a question. Well, like, you know, a show so be like less vitamin D, like what they're gonna get, right? What if so be more vitamin D? What is the effect? Because if more like rooftop, they're pretty much in the sun all day, every day. So what are the effects of those people getting more vitamin D?
That's a good question. I think that there was another slide on that when we have too much of it. But the American say, nyame nyansafo, because what happened say, and studies have shown say the one kasa nipa ya ye kwa anom no ubetimi anom ama na broso, but the yenya through the sun there you can never get too much of it. What happened and say when those UVA rays hit the skin now, that process of converting or making the vitamin D starts. But when it reaches a certain level, body na kasa etimi catch them who say they don't need to convert more. So pretty much it has that mechanism there, and that is very amazing. So and we are the natural way. And obia or exposed to sun as original rooftop or down so fine. Obenya sun no almost more than they need. So by the end of the day, ebia overexposure and ebia skin cancer and skin burns be no benya. But as far as making excessive vitamin D, it never happens with that natural mechanism. And untina, and no, ideally, and can our best way, that with the food that we eat, and as our best way. But now we want to use the artificial way. That's where we stand the risk of getting too much. Now, and also some of the risk involved, things say if somebody has too much of vitamin D, that can be a problem. Some of them can lead to calcification of some of your veins and blood vessels, which can lead to a whole lot of health conditions.
Pacho, me pese so question be any of me pese me general and more about being outside, right? Watch I say you vitamin D no from being outside. Now we busa we children say ono de on pa bonten kro. Na say obie ne mpoma no curtain no na say otena ano onum na ewia no bo no nso what it is they say you being outside actively no and you maybe one ma unya say who inside necessary ewia kakra na ebo wa unya. One of the things they said even the quality of air ubenya the natural air na ubenya wa bonte no e wono so ene ne mfa so nti no say time bia no ye share inside na say ye share condition mu a the humidity the quality of air no enye the same as being outside. Apart from that no so no especially your parents who say kroma say no utimi nja akram kwa so nkodi agro ana pe bebre no so ye ni adagest aso a ye no be kwa kwata bonte ono for a couple of hours. Nti akobebe the Saturday the NHS video game na number resort to which also leads to sedentary lifestyle. I didn't know my baby so every year. Nti ebe say yen spending some time no na omunkwa bonte no muntimi ndi agro. Apart from they be physically active from not being sedentary no so no as you play no so no your body releases some hormones emma wenije anything na oka say o like etimi ma depression is part of due to the exposure no. When it is hormones na ye nyane nyina no it may affect your mood and it also releases hormones so it might resist pain so more anything that exercises ni be one ma a boy with your pain threshold right enti no ni nyina mu no ye ka kwakosi se ye hye ebra ye ni abre ye adwuma ni ade ni nyina no so no ye mpembre ni spend the time e wa outside. And he said this year, youth for organizing programs, baby, mamono. Yes, some say amumra. The mundi agro so kakra bonte.
You make a good point and remind me of something. And maybe I gave this talk somewhere now. Obibusa say, me no me head and power bonte so but me fear no. Mo baby as a glass. Entina wiabo a ba honum entina me so na me de makonya si honum. Na me ti wona awia no e beto me so a. Eno so no me okay now. Guess what? Also, you feel the heat, but UVA rays, no, they can't go through glass. But I didn't kasana convert here, you know, scientifically and I say in practical terms, you know, it cannot penetrate through glass. No? So just a light, no, you get about that specific rays now you need for it to make the, you know, studies have shown say glass prevents it and also blocks it. And you know, so we shall fear now if you say we are about you know that's enough. You're not really not getting it. You feel the heat, you feel as a does, but the actual benefit, you know, you're not getting it. So you're better off getting the actual direct exposure. But no crano, you too much and so it means my skin problems. And I'm what say. What's it? That you know the last one.
What they say, meaning it won't be a friend melanin cream. Yet, what is that one? Not over we more. I'm say a young fed more. Meaning, say I had more.
Then, or more the strap for a sunscreen and answer.
Melanin.
Now, more then. And so
amount of ultraviolet rays.
I think that probably the same. It was the same as sunscreen. Sabro, from the stress from work, we must say, limited the amount of direct sun damage to the skin.
Okay.
Yeah, and I think that is probably the same thing.
Different SPF.
Yes, or different grades. Yeah, because of your melanin. And don't you know, say before Frobia, Eddie Hanum there, and na ye de Adiciano, Ebesianum, na a brandswa, ye disiano, na yen half week in also, and Yamiadum, ye de Nina, Ebawi, and Untino, Sabre Medjina Health Department, and Nemu, Ada Yenina se, no quasim a free. As some penny for Sone Health Department members, Ebepim Yenina so. We can say, you would do I pay attention to Nipa and Bazum no sono. you could see say it was very, 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 very encouraging. Just any pan be from out of state, from Ghana, from different countries. Omunyina, na it was very encouraging. Na as that also next one also Aquama AAN speakers, you know. I know say some of them are still on the line. Yeah, the more asipa, even getting some of them are very, very busy. But omunyina enya abutre any opepa say omba bekan ho. Ama ni nyina so atimi ekọ so. Eno nti no yeah da munyina ase. Yes say nyankopon enka nyina ho. Na ebre ekọ animu aso no ye bebo modena ase kakra bia nso a ye betimi e de aboa ye no. Health department ye be ama akoso na fe ye de aboa ye ho edam ase. Pacho announcement back on say youth choir for say next week nyame adoma 9:30 omuhia e wo ha say entina wo for no momo modena say wanka say wuntimi ntu bia oba ne de fa ne bra na onso entimi emesu anwum tuo ne bi na entimi emoa ene ansana yebe shira so no meja mampanifo say home and okay if I'm sure say home and family for say omo amanebo eno ntino abra ye free ane ye beja ha mom say ye wia pastor wa hana wo shira ni nyina so edamos
Yo health department nyame enhyiramo edemose bebre ewa kwankyere ne adesua hodo amode amaye anwumre megina home and family for and medine Stephen Frimpong na home and family for secretary Ernest Ayakwa Boadu Junior. Home and family for enyanti yese ye baba akon aye hihye so okwa akoware enti opanyi yentumi na ye chairman ye ma me no e ka ho munyina e bono tofa panyi yentumi awro ne ka ade ahye ne nsa ene wo sofo ne mpanyimfo adi nkomo home and family